welcome back to Forza Top Gear Laps Rivals, the spin-off where we pit a couple of cars with common ground and close PIs against each other to see which one comes out on top. Today we take a look at two entry-level Italian exotics. Firstly, the Ferrari Dino 246 GT, or should that be just Dino 246 GT? Originally conceived as a spin-off brand from Ferrari in 1957, Dino would be named after Enzo Ferrari's son, who had an involvement in creating the 1.5-litre V6 engine used for Formula 2 racing. After his tragic death at just 24, the V6 would be named the Dino, and the Dino brand would go on all V6-powered Ferrari race cars. By 1967, Ferrari decided it wanted a smaller, lower-priced sports car to go after the Porsche 911, but also did not want to potentially ruin the prestige of the Ferrari brand by offering a car without a V12. This car would use the Dino V6 and thus was sold under the Dino brand. Being from a spin-off brand allowed Ferrari to be more experimental. The most important feature was its mid-engine layout, the first ever mid-engine Ferrari road car. At the time, Enzo was hesitant of offering such a layout, but he would eventually relent. Designed by Pininfarina and built by Scaglietti, the now christened Dino 206 GT was a hit thanks to its lower price, design and its driving experience. Within 2 years, the Dino 206 GT had become the Dino 246 GT, named for its newly enlarged 2.4-litre Dino V6 engine. This satisfied customers' need for more power, and the 246 GT would become a successful car, with 3,761 sold over the course of 5 years, accounting for a significant amount of Ferrari's sales at the time. The Dino brand would continue onto the next generation and was quietly phased out in 1976. The Dino engine family would grow to include V8s, and the Dino engine family would go all the way to 2004, eventually being replaced by the joint Ferrari-Maserati V8 engine. While Ferrari considered this car an outcast at the time, the impact of the Dino 246 GT has propelled it into the Ferrari history books, some considering it one of the greatest cars they've ever built. Next up, the Lamborghini Jalpa. The Jalpa story dates back to 1972 and the Lamborghini Urraco. The Urraco was designed to be a more affordable Lamborghini, set to go against cars like the aforementioned Dino 246 GT and the Maserati Merak. Equipped with the Lamborghini V8 engine with a choice of 2-litre, 2.5-litre and 3 litres in capacity, the Urraco would prove to be a very popular car and was eventually evolved into the Lamborghini Silhouette in 1976, which would only last a few short years before evolving once again into the Jalpa. The Lamborghini Jalpa launched in 1981. Its updated styling married it much closer to the Countach, looking like a softer baby version of the angular supercar legend, which was the point of the Jalpa in the lineup. The Jalpa featured a now 3.5-litre V8 engine due to new emissions regulations. Despite being down on power to the older 3-litre V8, the Jalpa still matched up pretty well to the Ferrari 328, which was the flagship V8 sports car of Ferrari at the time. The Jalpa would roll on until 1988, when Lamborghini's new owners Chrysler decided to finally put the cheaper V8 Lamborghini to rest to focus on the upcoming Diablo supercar. While the Jalpa has largely faded into the distance, it can be argued this was a highly influential car for Lamborghini, with the more affordable entry-level supercar idea being revisited in 2003 for the Lamborghini Gallardo, which became Lamborghini's most successful car ever, and having since been succeeded by the Lamborghini Huracan. So there you go, two entry-level mid-engine sports cars from two of the world's most prestigious brands. Despite a 20-year age gap, these two cars do stack up pretty well against each other on paper, so let's see which one can overcome the term of base model. On to the laps then, and we begin with the Dino, the 1969 Ferrari Dino 246 GT, 195 horsepower, 165 foot-pound torque, 2,380 pounds of weight. The Dino is an interesting one. I've been spending several years trying to figure out if this car is genuinely beautiful or if it's just a bit weird looking. I'm still not quite sure. I do really like the way it looks, but it also looks incredibly strange. From certain angles, or just in general it looks a bit weird. I don't know, it's a car I've been trying to wrap my head around for a while, but yeah, no, I do like the Dino quite a lot, and I will consider it a Ferrari. If I call it the Ferrari, that's just because I'm used to calling it a Ferrari. Dino's a bit dead in the water really, so That's a bit of a failed experiment. Anyways, as far as the Dino goes to drive, obviously it's the least powerful, least torquey, and it is significantly lighter than the Lamborghini, you'll find out in a second. The actual car itself, it's pretty great. It can slide around. Very soft suspension, very wallowy, will roll around in the corners. There's no mistaking the fact that this is a 1969 car. But it is a huge amount of fun to drive, there is no doubting that. It's one of those cars where you sort of want to challenge yourself to go around corners faster and faster because of the way the suspension is and the handling and so on. You can sort of see there, it's a really fun car to just sort of get in and chuck around, which you wouldn't really expect from a Ferrari, especially a Ferrari this time, but because the Dino is a bit less powerful, a bit cheaper, a bit easier, you can do so. Next up we have the 1988 Lamborghini Jalpa, 255 horsepower, 231 foot-pound torque, 3,329 pounds of weight. So as you can see, there is a huge amount of power and torque over the Dino, because of course the Jalpa uses a V8 engine. However, it is 1,000 pounds heavier on account of that V8 engine and also being about 20 years older. The Jalpa is a weird one. I sort of like it. I wouldn't consider this beautiful at all. It's just not really my sort of style. I'm not a huge fan of these sort of wedge-style sports cars in general. But, you know, it's cool. It makes an excellent noise, I can certainly say that. And the Jalpa has always been a pleasant surprise to drive the last few times I've driven it. In fact, in Horizon games, I've driven these things on dirt and snow, and they handle incredibly well. Really do quite well. I made a rally car build on this not too long ago, a very long time ago, on Horizon 3. Anyways, as far as this car goes to drive around here, it is a really solid car. It has an amazing amount of grip, a little bit of understeer, does definitely feel heavier than the Dino, maybe not quite as fun as the Dino, but it is certainly more focused than the Dino in terms of going around corners. It certainly feels like it's better handling. In terms of its actual pace though, it might surprise you to learn. I mean, it is only, 60 horsepower up on the Dino, 1,000 pounds heavier. It doesn't feel that much quicker than the Dino. If it is all in a straight line, they might be pretty matched, but either way, how did they do on the actual track itself? Well, the Jalpa was the quickest, going into 347th place with a 130.620, goes in between a Firebird and a Lotus 11, beats out an Aston Martin DB5, AMC Rebel, Plymouth Fury. Not really around anything comparable all the time. We don't have a lot of sort of entry-level sports cars in this game. The Dino not too far down actually, in 358th place with a 131.095. Of course it's on a different slide because this part of the leaderboard is really crowded. Goes in between a Monaro and a Jaguar XJS. It's certainly a lot better than the Jaguar XJS. Onto some form of conclusion then, and it's actually quite tough between these two cars. In terms of driving, the Dino is certainly more fun to drive. The Dino is certainly better to look at than the Jalpa, but the Jalpa makes a better noise. The Jalpa is also a better car to drive out of the box. Between them upgraded, I've heard good things about the Dino. I'm not too sure how the Jalpa copes in motorsport games, so that I'm a bit up in the air of. It's really difficult. Choosing between the two, I would probably let my heart choose the Dino and my head choose the Jalpa. You're not really going to get a much better idea out of me, but yeah, the Jalpa is a really good car, which I think really does get overlooked. It's a fantastic thing. And the Dino, it's a little bit more popular among the community, but yeah, that is really quite a cool car as well. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching this edition of Forza Top Gear Labs Rivals. Do hope you've enjoyed. As always, join us for the next main episode, which is going to be on retro sports cars, and then join us for the next Rivals episode, where we aim to end one of the great American debates. So join us for that. Until then, farewell. You know the sorrow that my heart holds in, knowing just where my hopes and dreams are going. That you are not part of. Eyes on the slit of your father with love.